One. Hey everybody, welcome to bonus stuff. We just got done reviewing the Oscar-winning film The Lost Weekend from 1945. So that's over on our House 6 channel. So that's where we review all the best pictures. So go check that out. Speaking of Oscars happened this weekend, right? Or last weekend, I should say. Um, so our picture actually shares something with the picture that won. So the best picture was Anora, and the thing it has in common with The Lost Weekend is that it is one of four films, the other one being Parasite and Marty, to win
Body.
both the best picture and the top prize at Cannes. So go check out our review of what we thought of The Lost Weekend. So let's just go over. Thomas, did you watch the Oscars?
I watched most of it, yeah.
Okay, so you can kind of tell us what happened. So Honora did win. I didn't even know what Honora was about till I kind of looked at this and it's like,
It's okay. I'll ruin part of my watch list. I did watch Anora.
he did.
Yeah.
I hear
No, it did
people
not
love
deserve to
it.
win.
No?
No, uh, it is a nothing plot. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Uh, Spoiler alert for Anora. Nothing happens. I apologize. So,
I think they just kind of had to make it win because I think they really wanted it to give it
the
to,
Amelia Perez, yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm thinking happened. But as soon as all that stuff came out about the lead, it's like, oh, crap.
Can't do that.
Left, left. But I am surprised that uh what do you call it? Conclave didn't actually win. I that was my pick for going in.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Hmm.
Which
I,
I said I watched it before. Like it was kind of like what's that guy's name? Dan Brown. You ever read Dan Brown
yeah.
stuff?
It,
It's like, oh, it's an interesting concept, and then you get to the ending, you're just like, well, that was a whole waste of
the
that was a waste. Like that was a terrible ending, and that's exactly what I felt about Conclave
Yeah, three
because it's got
quarters of
like
the
all this.
movie is great, Oscar winning even, but
Yes,
the end
I
is terrible.
it was totally it was horrible.
It's
I was
just
just like, man, like this is interesting. It's so well acted. It's so well set up, and then you get to the end, you're just like, that sucked.
well, it just like destroys the character at the end
Yeah,
because the lead character, because the whole time he's just on this quest for truth and he just wants the truth, and then it's like, oh, okay,
ends
we
up
can lie about that.
and ends up telling a huge lie. I'm just like, what?
It's like
If,
that's not good.
if they wanted
Um,
to be fair, they should have gave it to the substance because horror needs
I've
one.
heard a lot of people saying about that should have won. Like not just like best picture, but like best actress and supporting actress. So that's one I haven't seen yet.
It's the only one
Sean,
I saw.
Sean
Hmm.
Baker, that's not true, Jared.
You saw Dune Part Two?
You saw Doom Part Two.
Nah,
Oh.
I was faking it.
You were
I
faking the
lied.
whole time.
Just like that movie.
Sean Baker went for Honora for directing. Has he directed anything else?
Yeah, he's directed several things.
Four-letter words.
I honestly forgot what he's directed, but he's a big indie guy.
Most
He's got
off.
he's got like a few Criterion collections. I've seen a few of his movies. I haven't been super impressed.
Oh, I saw the
Like
Florida
the Florida
Project.
Project, yeah.
Yeah,
I was just like, it
it was
was
okay. I kind
okay,
of liked it.
Oh, he's
Um,
but
that guy, like the tangerine.
Tangerine, yeah.
Mm.
Um, but all of his stuff that I've watched has just been kind of okay. Not like I don't. He's super obsessed with sex workers. Like
yeah, he seems kind of like
it says it right there.
yeah, it seems like he's kind of like one of those guys that they really want to be big.
But
The
doesn't really hit
industry.
very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Best actor in a leading role, Adrian Brody. So he another tie into House Six. Adrian. So I've heard different stuff. So he did a 5 minute speech, right?
Hmm.
So that might be the longest speech, or it might be the actress who won for Miss Minerva, if you guys remember that movie. So she gave a very long speech, but they think they cut her off at 4 minutes. Um, but she might have gone to 7, they say. So we don't really know. Because she kind of just kept talking. Best actress was Mickey Manson for Honora.
If
No.
someone gave a long speech, I'd be like, "Get off the stage, dude!" I'd
They
be
do.
like,
They have
Even
the music.
even Adrian Brody, he would
"Yes."
look all sad at you.
I'd be like, "Get off,
Sure.
dude! We don't care."
I will say
Uh,
that Conan was a very good host. Like he didn't. It sounds weird. He didn't make it. He didn't have like any political jokes. He was just kind of funny. Poked fun at the audience. I was like, "Yep, that's a good host. I like that."
so Ray Fiennes was in the running for that, and then
I'll be honest. Like besides the ending, I thought that was one of Ray Fiennes' better like roles.
Did anyone see the Brutalist?
I still haven't seen it.
it's 3 hours or 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
That's why I didn't go because I was going to go at the theaters, but Demi Moore was nominated for the Substance. Jared, go, Jared.
What I
Maybe.
keep hearing, she should have won.
Yeah, a lot of people thought she would win just because she
I'm
was
sorry,
kinda
but
due or
Mickey
something.
Madsen, she plays the same character from well, it's not a character, it's a real person, but she played that exact person basically from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm like, I just want to hit you in the face with a freaking can of like dog food like Brad Pitt did. Except she
So-
speaks Russian.
Kieran Culkin won for A Real Pain, so that's one we saw and we all liked. So
That
that's
one,
good.
I agree with that one. I agree with that one.
I always forget Edward Norton's in a complete unknown. Best actress in a supporting role was Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez, so they had to get it in there somehow.
Then they give it to somebody in that movie.
I heard she's the best part, but it's still awful.
It's still a bad movie.
Like she's the best part, but she has a terrible part.
Like, God, it's such a bad movie.
And she doesn't sing very well in it, and it's just like best writing Honora, best writing from adapted screenplay Conclave, best animated feature film Flow. So that's the one everyone thought was going to win, and it did. Best international feature film I'm Still Here.
I do want to see that one.
Best documentary The No Other Land. Best live action short film I'm Not a Robot.
Sorry, I had to get that out. I had to mute myself.
Best animated short film In the Shadow of Cypress.
I've been seeing that one.
Best music was The Brutalist.
Oh my God.
Best
The
song El
song El Mal. That was a horrible song.
and it
like-
won.
I can't even believe it won. Like,
How
I mean,
did that
okay,
win?
you have to see though. There's no good contenders. Like it was a crappy year for songs. But that song is horrible.
He
It
got
made me hurt.
nominated twice.
Yeah.
Had a second one.
The little bit that I heard from Thomas on his phone, I was like, geez, that sounds
Bad.
like maybe some theater kids made it.
Like some late night production kids, yeah. Like it's bad.
How did they win? Best sound, Doom Part 2.
That is a travesty. That's the only thing it won, I believe, this tonight or that night.
Best
Did-
production. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, didn't Wicked have a song, but it's already like
Yeah.
a play or
It's not original.
I'll be
yeah.
honest, I'm surprised Wicked didn't win more stuff. And
Yeah.
not that I've seen it yet. I've just listened to the soundtrack, but everything I'm listening to the soundtrack, it's fantastic. And I'm like, man, that's pretty good. So
Best production design. Cinematography, The Brutalist. Makeup, The Substance. There you go, Jared.
It won what
There
we
you
thought
go.
it would win.
You thought it would win. Best costume.
Emilia Perez. I was like, well, best special effects.
Best visual effects, Dune. Beating out
Okay, best
Better Man.
costume design though, that should have gone to Nosferatu. I'm sorry, but that should have gone. Nosferatu should have won more something. It didn't win a thing.
I'm just trying to think of the costume. It's just really his, right?
Well, not just his,
Everything
but
else
like,
is kind of.
but just like the production, like of the costumes, they look so good. It's a Robert Edgers movie. Like all of his costumes look great.
Right.
I don't
Governor's
get this. Best
Awards.
film editing was Anora. I don't.
Was it good? Editing, Thomas?
Well, even like the director's like, we saved this movie in editing. I'm just like, that's not a good thing, man.
We
That's not a
saved
good
it.
thing.
Then why are you best director?
Yeah.
It should just be
It's
best
just
editing.
hey,
uh,
got best visual effects, Doom Part 2.
Doom Part 2, beating out Better Man, Jared.
Good.
Mhm. Although I will say Alien, Romulus, and Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, those are two good contenders.
Yeah.
That's a good fight right there.
So this was interesting. The Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award goes to Barbara Broccoli.
Broccoli.
If you know that name, she just like kind of screwed James Bond. And they had like a whole production for James Bond, right? And she's
Yep.
pretty much the one that killed it. So that's kind of an interesting thing to
I
do.
will say Margaret Qualley looked pretty good as a Bond girl. I'm just saying. Just
Go watch The
whew.
Substance.
Well, don't expect that on Amazon.
I don't know if I want to, Jared, because I've heard things.
Amelia Perez was the most nominated. The most wins was Enora with 5. Brutalist 3. Everything else had 2. And anything stand up for what you saw, Thomas?
Um the bit with because Ben Stiller does like a bit with his like presentations, and his was production design. And when he like because he like rises from the floor and he like gets stuck halfway, he's like, production design is essential to the it's pretty good. Like
Did
the only
anyone
one I
get
remember.
slapped
Go ahead.
this year?
No big slaps
No
except for Israel,
fights.
but that's all that no other land crap. That one pissed me off pretty bad. But because
In
it's funny,
memoriam.
it's funny about that documentary. They're like, it's a Palestinian and Israeli production team. It's like it's all Palestinians and one Israeli. It's like that's not a team.
And it's usually a sympathizer when
Oh yeah, no, everybody's in the comments like they threw the capo in the fire last, my guy. It's like, yep. So
So the in
anyway, enough politics.
memoriam.
Yeah, that was weird. The in memoriam for like Gene Hackman only. Morgan Freeman spoke. I'm like, should have been a few more, I think, but it's kind of weird. It's also super fresh and like super suspicious what happened. So
Yeah.
I don't think they really wanted to say a lot.
Yeah,
But
it's hard to say.
overall, like the actual Oscar like show itself wasn't bad. It was just a very boring year for movies. There was not a lot of good
Yeah, it wasn't
movies
a
this
good one.
year. And the movies that we liked, like they didn't get a lot of nominations. I was just like, okay, cool. So
Yeah, a lot of people were expecting this to be heavy, like on the politics because of the election. They thought it would just be preaching the whole time.
there was
So
some of it, but the thing is that that's not kind of how the tides have turned. So they kind of kept it to themselves, I think. So that was nice. I'm like, it was an actual just production. I kind of like that.
all
Sorry,
right,
I got some cop.
I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, I forgot to watch a movie. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
My God.
So I only have 2 movies on my list, but the news. So, sorry, I don't have visuals this time.
Dang it.
I had a tough week.
Yeah, it's
So the news, the big people woke up, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and all the nerds were screaming out of their minds because Kathleen Kennedy was said to have retired, but not so fast. Because she says, no, I didn't. You freaking little nerds. I did not retire. And I will never retire from. And she's like, well, we're just talking about my replacement. So basically, she's going to retire. She just wants to go out when she wants to go out. She doesn't want it leaked or anything.
we're all like
So.
that fish from SpongeBob. Like, how many times do we have to keep teaching you this lesson, old woman?
So I heard a rumor over at Film Threat, which is Chris Gore's channel. They're hearing rumors that Disney is actually trying to sell off Star Wars. So I don't know who would get it and if they would
and
do it any better.
and scrap the whole last 10
Uh,
Yeah,
years.
that's what
I
everybody said. Say decanonize the Skywalker, whatever that was.
the
Yes, it was a
Ray.
waste of time, but that's not our fault.
Yeah, who cares?
I think the only people that could afford it would probably be Sony,
Or
um,
Apple.
or Apple. But the thing is, Apple's almost like too exclusive, so I don't think a lot of people would like buy Apple products to watch Star Wars. So
I don't know. I could see Apple doing that.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's not like okay, but it's not like having Disney Plus, where you have Disney Plus and Star Wars.
Mhm.
No one watches Apple Plus except for Severance, and that's about it. They don't go like, oh yeah, I got my subscription to Apple Plus or Apple Plus because I love the Foundation. It's like nobody says that. Nobody
Or
says about
maybe
that.
Star
But
Wars would give them people the reason to say that.
Or it
maybe
could turn out like the freaking Peanuts, where you really want to watch Charlie Brown Christmas, but you can't because it's on Apple Plus.
really,
Yeah, they have all the Peanut stuff, so they don't show the specials anymore on TV.
that's kind of crappy.
Yep.
But, hmm.
Because I
But I
always
don't
want to
know.
watch it at Christmas time. It's never
Like
there.
I would be okay with Sony having them, just because they're highly accessible. I guess because I would hate to pay for more. Oh hell, for more Apple.
Sony's tough though, because then you got the Spider Verse that wasn't. Um, Maybe they do better with sci-fi. I don't know. There was a lot of rumors that like Kevin Feige might replace, which I think might actually work because it. I know he's had a hard time at Marvel lately, but it sounds like the higher ups are the ones messing it up more than he is. But it would be big, and he's a big Star Wars fan, so maybe he would respect it.
I also
But
heard Filoni and Favreau were in talks as well.
yeah,
But
I can't really see them doing it.
I
It
can't
just
see Filoni, but I can see Favreau because I know Favreau's like had like uh, although they did kind of throw him under the bus with Marvel because he's pretty much started Marvel and then they're like,
yeah.
no. They took it away from him and then it kind of fell apart. It's like so I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Star Wars. Can someone resurrect
Can
it?
someone rescue Star Wars?
Can they please sell it off before the KOTOR show they're planning?
Before anything else, just any more damage, just sell it off.
What's funny is that Johnny's girlfriend was finally was reading Thrawn, like that Timothy Zahn tie-in for the Clone Wars,
Mhm.
and I'd like totally nerded out on her. She's like, "Are they are like those books that came out before? Are they any good?" I was just like, "The Heir to the Empire trilogy? Why, yes, they are. They are amazing. In fact,
Dude, the dream would be they sell it off and they just start adapting the old books, man. Just do that.
just get True Carpation back. Get like just do something from the extended universe because like
Yeah.
that was the best. Those were the best
Bring in the
stories.
twins.
The Yuuzhan Vong, like, and that's I told her about that too. I'm like, we never got to see uh Anakin, Jason, Jane. Anakin was amazing. Like I loved Anakin Solo, and then like his story is so good. And like we never got to see them. We never got to see Mara Jade. We never got to see Ben. Like it was such a waste of like good characters. We never got to see the Yuuzhan Vong War, which is like one of the coolest parts of Star Wars, and just
They should have a little clause in this contract, though, whoever buys it. If they do any Clone Wars, they get slapped or fired. Because I don't want to see any other Clone
We're done with
Wars
the Clone Wars.
material. Nothing from what we've seen.
it was good. It was good. Now leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Dude, it's
Like,
just like comic books. If they just adapt the old comic books, we'd be fine. But
hell,
they
the
always have to
Knights of
make
the Old
their own
Republic
way.
stuff is great.
Dude,
Mhm.
give me a Kyle movie and I'll be a happy boy.
Dude, yeah.
You just want a Jedi with a beard.
Yes,
He wants Kenny Loggins as a Jedi.
there you go.
That'd be awesome, actually. He's like,
uh,
it's like, hold on, guys, we're going into the danger zone.
Dude, I always see clips of the other guys, or not the, is it the other guys?
One with
But
Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
yeah, and they always show the parts where Michael Keaton's doing
Oh.
TLC.
No, TLC.
That cracks me up every time.
Straight from TLC. You've never heard of them? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you guys
Really?
talking about? I'm just
You
saying
did that on
things.
I'm just saying.
purpose.
Especially when they're at, was it his second job at Bed Bath and
Yeah.
Beyond? He's just like, seriously, that's just straight out of the lyric. Like, are you not doing this on purpose? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't want no scrubs. I don't want no scrubs.
I feel like we wrote that movie.
That movie was hilarious.
It's like the water, it just like the cucumber enhances it. Stop with the water.
Even that first scene, man, I don't know why that cracks you up so much, but it does.
Never had a death spot before? No. What's that? Oh, you've never had one? Oh, I gotta try it.
All right, other news. Wonder Woman game is canceled after.
I didn't even know there was going to be a game.
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, they were gonna make it with that Nemesis system that Warner Brothers has, but Warner Brothers shut it down and they canceled it. It's been
Shadow of War?
yeah,
From
it's
Mordor?
yeah, it's pretty much it was supposed to be like the sequel to that, so it's been in production for that long, but yeah.
Wait, yeah, because that studio shut down, didn't it?
Yeah, they shut down the studio, so
Wow.
Mecha Break is a game with a lot of jiggle effects, and it actually dethroned Marvel Rivals for a while, the demo. So that was some.
Oh, that
A
anime game?
Mecha
Yeah.
with boobies?
Well, yeah, and mechs.
That's what I said. Mecha with boobies.
Yeah.
I thought you meant a mech with boobs. So I
Oh,
was
with
like,
boobs. So
No,
no.
No, the pilots are very jiggly. They
Yay.
get into mechs.
Ooh.
Solo Leveling Season 8, or Episode 8, I should say.
Season 8? What
like, what?
happened?
Season 8 went in the future. Episode 8 had 100,000 likes, and that was, I think, Crunchyroll's. I'm not talking about it. That's like a record for Crunchyroll.
Jared keeps like
Dude, I should tell you about this episode.
threatening us. Like he does like drive by like threatenings with me and
I'm
Michael. Like,
surprised you guys haven't seen like spoilers like on
I've-
Instagram because I see them all
kept
the time.
off.
Yeah, I missed. The
Never
last
like
episode.
anime on Instagram because it's just spoilers nonstop. But man, this last episode, guys, let me tell you a little something about this episode.
No, don't say a
I
word.
missed this episode, so I'm even farther behind. Jared, there was a Pokemon event.
I
Showed
know, I
off
told you.
the new packs. Anything else? It had like an update for the sleeping game, Pokemon Sleep or whatever.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I was there. Where were you?
I watched it as it was happening.
Any
There's
other
more
cool
episodes of Pokemon Concierge coming out in September. Probably another 4 episodes.
Will you like the lead character?
No, she's terrible. Everyone else in that show, delight. There's talks about the actual card game. I think one of the boosters. Pokemon Champions, which is a game that's coming out for the Switch and mobile devices.
Yeah. It's like Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, and it's compatible with the Pokebox or whatever that's called, Pokemon Home. So you can transfer your Pokemon to it. And then there's a little more about Pokemon ZA, which is like you know how Pokemon Arceus was in the past?
Yeah.
This one's in a little bit in the distant future, not too far in the future.
Tomorrow.
But it's in the X and Y region, so like Paris and Pokemon.
Paris and Pokemon.
And the starters for it is T-Pig, Chikorita, and Totodile. And everyone's like, why is T-Pig there?
Yeah, that's what I kept seeing that. I didn't know what that was for, but I kept seeing like who's the guy he kind of replaced? Chikorita
Cyndaquil.
or something? Oh, Cyndaquil, and they're like, he gets up by Cyndaquil. And they're like, where is Cyndaquil?
But everyone forgets Arceus had Cyndaquil as the starter. So he already had his game.
Oh, okay. So people just don't know.
I guess they just wanted him again, but I was like, we just had him. I don't want him again. I've never used T-Pig because I hated Black and White, so.
Now you can use T-Pig.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that explains it because I kept seeing those and I didn't know what that was about.
Oh, are we done with Pokemon? Because I've zoned out.
No, we're
Yeah.
going right back in because you said some naughtiness. Yeah, that was all for the show though. There isn't too much.
Yeah.
Well, I could say something about the Arceus packs that just
Shut
came
up.
out.
Shut up, Joseph.
Little disappointed. Little disappointed.
Just
from
because you
this one.
didn't get spoiled by the game?
Yeah. And I don't think the pictures of those great. So we already kind of touched on Gene Hackman. One of the best actors. I love Gene Hackman. Did Hoosiers, so always a
That's
soft.
what you bring up, Hoosiers?
Yes, always a soft place in my heart for Gene
Not the
Hackman.
Conversation, not The Unforgiven, not the
Hoosiers.
Royal Tenenbaums.
I love
not-
Hoosiers.
I mean, anything else he's done?
Hoosiers.
Hoosiers.
I love it. It's in my top 10 movies.
I know, but there's The Conversation. Did I say The Conversation?
You already said that.
That movie's fantastic.
Michael's not here, so one of you have to pretend to be like Michael. John Lithgow has been cast as Dumbledore. That's the thing.
I saw
happened.
that. I was like, weird.
I was like, I was just kidding about more Americans in the cast, but yeah, we get
He does a perfect British accent, though. I'm just saying.
we could
Yeah,
send
we
him
can
to
do it
Brit-
too, Britain.
We could send him to Britain.
Goes both ways.
There was a part where Conan was talking about, like, if you go over your time, we're not going to play you off. We're just going to cut to John Lithgow looking not angry, just disappointed. And he just went like,
I can't wait to see him do. Did you put the
"Did you put
name in the
the
goblet of fire, Harry?
Did you put your name in the goblet of
Dunks
fire?"
him in the goblet, just like there's your name. I want it to be way more just like
That is some of
over
my
the
favorite
top.
like little YouTube like shorts. It's like, did you put your name in the goblet of fire, Harry? Dumbledore said. And then compared to the movie, "Did you put your name in the goblet of fire?"
I like the Lego version. He's like throwing other Lego men.
Huzzah!
All right, and then the last thing I have is Brendan Sanderson, Cosmere. He had like a whole cinematic universe plan, and that's kind of stalled because he said just seeing what happened to MCU and MCU was like the only one that was actually successful, and it hasn't been doing good lately. He said,
How would anybody be able to afford it? Like, none of the Cosmere would be cheap. Like, everything's epic.
yeah, and he was gonna fund it himself mostly, and so that's not happening. And there's been
I will say, since he's not here, Michael is slightly obsessed with Brandon Sanderson now. At least like his
True.
podcasts. But I'm like,
It-
have you read anything by him? He's like, no. I'm like, Michael.
So there's been controversy about the newest book, and I can't talk about it yet because I haven't finished it. I'm about like halfway through, so
You still
I'll-
haven't finished it?
I'll talk
It's a
about it
long
someday.
book. All of them were long.
Oh, you don't listen to him, huh? You actually read them.
I read them at work, so I only
Okay.
read
The
That
them
only
makes
at work.
sense.
only one I've read is the first one, and that's after I listened to it because I knew it was going to happen. I could read it faster. I'm just like, how the hell do people do this?
So someday we'll talk about the controversy, but it is not this day. Real fast,
It's not this day.
I watched Reacher. So here's the little Reacher review I give. Reacher.
The reach around.
Re-
We should have a little segment.
they,
It's like Joseph reaching.
they took it. It's already been taken. Third Roddick
Uh.
does a show like that after the episode. So beat us to it. So Reacher gets a promotion. Reacher tells a story. Reacher goes to the park. Reacher watches a conversation. Reacher has a BLT, which would not have been my choice, but he was in a hurry. And then Reacher gets some new clothes. So there's your review for the newest Reacher episode.
Spoiler-free review.
No, he ate a BLT, Thomas. That is some serious spoilers right there.
I don't eat bacon. I don't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't. BLT's not my favorite, but I
Like a
would've-
nothing sandwich. There's nothing there. It's not real meat.
I would have gone with the club. Come on, Reacher.
Of course you would. Club snob.
All right.
What are you talking about, Thomas, with your Reuben love over
Hey,
there? You're all
hey, hey,
snobs. No,
hey,
not hey. You're all
hey,
snobs.
hey,
You be
hey.
happy with whatever sandwich I give you, and you like it.
No, I want a Reuben or a tuna melt, but without the cheese. So just tuna.
No, you have to have the cheese.
I don't want the cheese.
Too bad you're getting extra
That's a
cheese.
tuna melt. You
I don't
can't.
care. I like a hot bread tuna sandwich. It tastes great. Just don't eat it around
You
people.
know what I discovered? Tuna is actually really good with bacon.
How
Everything's
would I
really
know that,
good with
Joseph?
bacon.
How would I know
I
that?
did not expect that, but you put bacon on, it's pretty good. Tuna sandwich with the toast. Yeah, man.
Why wouldn't you expect that? Bacon just makes everything, if it's salty, it just makes everything
Fish and
good.
bacon? That's kind of weird.
I will say I have discovered Jersey Mike's. Their tuna is amazing.
They
Really?
have
It's
tuna?
it's
Yeah.
so good. Like it is
I
so, and
love
it's
tuna.
like it is like it's so like hearty. It's not like okay, it tastes like Subway's tuna used to taste like. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's what it tastes like. I'm like, because I like bit into it, I was like, son of a bitch, this is amazing. And I'm like, oh no, this is just like what actual tuna fish tastes like, not whatever they have at Subway now. So
I like it at Potbelly's, but I don't like paying like $15 for a tuna.
$15. I'll
I
make
But
mean,
it's
it
so
good.
good. The bread is so like sturdy, and
it's
then
not
you put a little
much.
extra mayo in there and some hot peppers.
Oh, but the thing is, like at Jersey Mike's, they do it Mike's way. They have like the red vinegar, and then they put the lettuce and the pickles, and it's
Jared
like,
doesn't like
Man, screw
that.
Mike. I don't give a.
I love it like that, man. I
I don't
love
like
red
pickles on tuna though.
I love red vinegar. Oh, you can not get
Uh,
pickles,
it
but
depends. It like some days I'm like, oh, okay, I like this. It gives it some crunch and some like vinegary taste.
I
But
do
some
like
days I don't want it.
I do like tomatoes on my tuna sandwich, but the thing is, since I have the acid reflux, I can't eat tomatoes, like the acidity. And so I'm
How
like,
about some cucumber? That's kind of a.
they don't have cucumber. Well, they don't have cucumber there.
You know
They
what
Oh,
just
I
have,
like on tuna? Lettuce.
oh yeah, same. That's Mike's way too. So
That's instead
that's
of
how Mike
pickles.
likes it too, Joseph.
yeah,
I know Mike. I like Mike. I haven't had
we
Mike's.
have a mic on here.
I haven't had Mike's for a long time though. I'll finish up my list since it's real short. Watched Hot Summer Nights, which is with Timothy Chalamet. He's like this kid who goes to what's that place in New York that the rich people go to?
That's a lot of places, Joseph.
Like the beach town. I forget what it's called.
Oh,
Cape Cod.
Cape Cod or
Oh, I guess
Long
they're in
Island.
Maine, right? Cape Cod's in Maine. Anyway, he goes to Cape
Is it
Cod.
is it Long Island? That's New York.
I can't remember. He goes to Cape Cod and he becomes a drug dealer because he thinks the local marijuana dealer is so cool, man. He's got a man crush. It's a straight on man crush. Um,
Just like Call Me by Your Name.
so this movie, well, that's a little more straight on man loving, but that's not a man.
Man, love it.
This movie is weird because I guess it was the director's first movie, I think. So you could kind of tell it didn't need a lot of stuff. First part I kind of hated has this kid narrator. Why are you giving me a kid narrator? I don't want a kid narrator just so he can cuss and you go, oh, that's cute. The kid's cussing. I don't want that. Get that out of here. And then the first part is like a Wes Anderson kind of editing style, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Stop it. And then they finally get rid of the narrator. He goes away for a long time.
Hey kid, get out of here.
And it's more about like the drug dealing, and I'm like, this is better. Why isn't this the whole
This
movie?
is what I want. Drugs and adult things, no kids.
Yeah, and then it gets too bogged down by the romance. They kind of stay on the romance too long, and then the kid narrator
Anything
comes back.
innocent, just like ah.
Then the kid narrator comes back, and that's the end of the movie. So yeah, I liked like a little chunk of this movie. I didn't really like much of it. What was weird? Okay, I had a weird experience. So before this movie, like right before this movie, I was watching YouTube, and I watched this video about outsider music, and I sent it to Jared and Jonah. Um, so it was a good video. Outsider music's very interesting. I turn on the movie. I watch the movie. It gets to the credits, and this song starts playing. I'm like, I know this song. It was from the Outsider video I had just watched. And I'm like, how did this happen? So this is one of those weird coincidences.
It's all come together.
Other movie I watched was it's either The Boneyard or just Boneyard. I can't remember. It's Mel Gibson. It came
Well,
out
which
last
is it?
year. I don't remember. You have to look it up. Something about a boneyard. It's about Mel Gibson, and it's based on some murders that actually happened here in Albuquerque, called the West Mesa murders. Um,
I was gonna say the Brahms Bandit.
so this movie it wasn't very good. It felt like I was
Oh.
watching CSI Albuquerque, and it was just
I
so
would love a CSI in Albuquerque.
it was bad because like Mel Gibson's hardly in the movie, so we're like following this other detective the whole time, and no one can act in this movie. No one's only Mel Gibson can act. Everyone, 50 Cent is the police chief, and the poor guy, bless him, he can't act, man. It just looks weird, but he tries, and yeah, it was boring. I was probably playing Pokemon the whole time during it. Um, it had Albuquerque. I mean, I saw all the places. Like, hey, I
I
know
remember
that.
liking 50 Cent in a movie. He can act
He
sometimes.
was really good in Den of Thieves, but that's the only thing I've really seen him in lately.
Is that the last thing I want to? Yeah, I didn't care for this movie. You know, um, it just seemed like a really long episode of CSI, and then it ends on a cliffhanger. So you're like, what is it going to be on next week? Are we going to see what happens?
Next
Um,
week on CSI Albuquerque.
yeah. And then the last thing I continued to watch
Last time in the Duke City.
Shangri-La Frontier.
The
So
vampire one?
no, I saw a video that some guy was talking about it, and he's like, "I wanted to like this, but it is just nothing. It's a big nothing." Um, so Shangri-La Frontier, we last left, and he was doing the mech arc because he got tired of the game because it didn't give him his treasure, so he went over to fight some mechs, and he's like, I he's got to build a mech for this fight, and he's like, I'll go against. He's one of the characters like, leave it to you to go against the meta, and I was like, yes, I knew I liked this guy. Um, oh wait, so yeah, that kind of happened. This is weird. I'll get to it in a minute. So he beat the mech. He like beat the person that was originally on top, and so now they're tied because they both won one, so they got to fight again. And then he went back to the real or his other game. And what was happening over there? Oh, there's this girl. It's funny. There's this girl who has a crush on him in the because she knows him outside the game, but he doesn't know her.
Is it his cousin?
No, it's just his schoolmate. But it's funny
Is it his sister?
because
Disgusting. Not related to him. Disgusting.
Not
it's-
related by blood?
but it's funny because in the game he thinks it's a guy because she's like this real tough player, so he thinks it's a guy. I mean, it's funny. It's a funny show, man. Um, I left some stuff out of Reacher. I don't know why. I put Reacher under the anime. So we found out Reacher is not a fan of electronic dance music. And then Reacher was nice, but that made Reacher really sad because of what happened.
I thought we
Uh,
already went over the Chronicles of Reacher.
I know, but I left out some parts. So Reacher pistol punched a man. Reacher got revenge. And then at the very end, Reacher teaches boxing. Okay, so now we finish Reacher. So that's all I did.
I laugh at those at the end of that note. And then he had a PB&J.
Reacher walked himself, ate a sandwich, and went to
Went
bed.
to bed. I love that. That's the best.
All right, Jared, why don't you go next?
Why don't you make me? So on episode 9 of Solo Leveling.
Shut up!
I want to hear it.
Oh, there is something I wanted to talk about before. So Wooly from Castle Super Beast, and Super Best Friends, has a podcast with Super Eye Patch Wolf
There's
or
too much
John.
super, man.
Super.
or John. They have a podcast together now, and John had to watch some Gundam, and I was like, huh. So he was watching the old Gundam, like I think it was
Mobile
the
suit?
very yeah.
Oh,
He's
gee.
just not a mecha fan. He said he can appreciate it and respects it. It's boring. I was like that,
That's boring.
and I was like, I can get that. Like the old stuff, there's a lot of like fluff. There's a lot of like nonsense in there.
I'm sorry, but anybody who calls Gundam boring but can sit through like 45 seasons of WWE.
Did you ever
um,
finish Darling in the Franks? Is that what it's
yes,
called?
that's a
Yes.
terrible mecha.
You didn't like it?
No, it's awful. That's like
Someone was
Trigger's
defending
worst.
it. Someone was defending it.
I'm sure he was the pervert.
It's
Um,
it was kind of funny at the beginning, but then it stops being funny and just like this is just creepy now. Like
and then
I'm a creep for watching this.
it just took from every other mech. Like everything it introduced, I was like, that's from that. That's from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the end looked like Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then well he was trying to get him into it, like telling him all the different ones. And then he mentioned Seed. And he's like, so I was like, oh, I wonder what he thinks about it. He's like, I will never forgive Seed. He's like, that is the worst.
I thought he was
That's
gonna like
stupid.
it.
That stupid effing bird. I swear to God.
He
Why
said,
did he do that?
he said there is an offshoot. Well, a Gundam that takes place in the same time period as Seed.
Mhm.
That's pretty good. I don't know what it was,
Double O
but
one.
You don't
yeah.
believe him?
Double O's okay, but then the movie got like weird. It's like I mean, I guess spoilers, but like the first, like the two seasons it has, it's like that's pretty cool, kind of grounded. Like it's almost Wing-esque, where the Gundams are like the super advanced technology taking on other mechs, and then in the movie, aliens. It's like
Alien.
what?
In the
There was
movie,
nothing in the series to lead up to this. It was just aliens.
the movie Alien Bird.
Yeah. Oh no, no.
Because Seed takes place, it doesn't take place in the main
Universal.
line.
No.
Yeah. So I can believe aliens.
Seed is a
I'm
special.
excited for that new Gundam.
That looks cool. Like the alternate history Gundam.
Yeah.
That looks awesome.
But that it was fun hearing them talk about Gundam. I was like, oh, that's cool. Other than that, I listened to some music. The band I'm going through now is Bring Me the Horizon.
That's a little hard to do.
And so I started. They have
No, we have to pause for a moment. That was a stupid joke, Joseph. That was a very bad joke.
they have 11 albums, and I got through 3. So I started off with their first one, Count Your Blessings. It's weird because what I've heard from them, I've only heard like singles and stuff like that, and it just sounds kind of like pop metal to me. But going to this one, it was just super like just screamy, and there was no like clean vocals at all. It was just like it was super not what I was expecting. It wasn't too bad. It was kind of old pretty fast. And then the second album, Suicide Season, was more of the same. Um, and then this album has like the longest title ever. There is a Hell Believe Me. I've seen it. There is a Heaven. Let's keep it a secret.
That's the whole title.
Terrible album name. But they're starting to do a little more than just screaming. And there is some features from Lights, who I talked about before on on an earlier podcast. So I was like, oh, that's cool seeing her in there. But still not to their most famous one, which is after this one, but there's a really standout song in that last album with the terrible title. I'm not gonna say that again. But there's a song called Visions on it, and it was awesome. Other than that, the only thing I did was listen to a book, Child of God by uh,
Cormac.
Cormac McCarthy. Um, I don't know why I listened to it. It was just like recommended to me on Spotify, so I was like, oh yeah, and it was only like 5 hours on there, so I was like, I'll give it a shot. And I've listened to most of it. Well, I've listened to the books that people are like, oh, that's disturbing or that's pretty heavy. Um, but listening to the Child of God, I was like, this is by far the worst. Why does no one talk about this one? Um,
Did you whisper into the woman's ear things you would never say?
no. Um, it's about like the deep. I don't think it's Appalachia, is it? It's Tennessee.
It's Tennessee. Yeah.
That could be.
Just this guy from there. He's just a real like gremlin, just goblin man. Like he is a bad man. And
You're a bad man.
That's kind of all he can really say about the plot.
it just follows him. It starts off. He's kind of suspected of SA, like falsely accused of it. But then he like the but like 10 like a chapter after he just does it to like anyway, it doesn't make sense. And then he's having relations with corpses and it just like he's doing everything bad. And then
He's
he
a
burns
bad man.
and then he like loses his house and he has to like just squat at like some cabin, burns it down. I was like, my God. And then he's like dressing up the corpse like it's his doll, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I don't know why people don't talk about this when they're talking about like disturbing stuff from him. Like I read Blood Meridian and all the bad stuff. Like it has a meaning and like it's trying to go for something. This is just like he's just trying to write something like to make you go, oh. This one is just like no, like senseless, kind of like
I've never heard
depravity.
of this one.
So I was like, man, they should really talk about this one before they talk about Blood Meridian or like The Road or something like that. Because I was like, my God.
That terrible James Franco adaptation.
Oh yeah, I found out there was a movie adaptation, and I was like, how? How I want to see it because I'm like, how did they do it? That most of the book is about like the bad acts that he commits. So I was like, how did they even make a movie in this? Did they completely rewrite it? So I read it was interesting, but I after reading that I kind of want to read more like I guess horror or like crime and thriller books. So I'm gonna try to find more. But I was just like, man, they really dropped the ball not mentioning this book from like disturbing stuff from it because I was like, Mike, like 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, and I was at work and I was just like focused, like listening to it. And they're like, what are you listening to? I was like, music. Bring me the horizon.
Well,
Hard
like
to
when he
do.
told me that he read Child of God, I was like, God, what'd you think of the corpse? Like I can't say the rest of what I said, but he's like, dude, it was everywhere.
I thought it'd be like a one-time thing, like this is the big like
That's the
set piece.
scene. Yeah.
But he does it again. I was like, what the heck?
You can't
He
stop
loves
being
it.
bad.
And then it doesn't end like with him getting like comeuppance. He gets away because the cops finally like close in on him. Spoilers for this book, but I doubt anyone will actually read it because the subject matter. But the cops are like they finally get him and they're gonna arrest him, but they're like, we'll give you some leniency on the sentencing if you show us the bodies where you buried him or whatever. He's like, okay, they're in a cave, let's go. Because he's got a thick accent, and it made me laugh every time. Um, so they go into this cave, and he just gets the slip on them, and they're too fat to get through like the cave. So he runs away, and he's free. And then he goes to like he winds up at kind of a psych ward place, and he just dies there from like sickness. And I was like, so this is the most like he just wanted to write something effed up and like I don't know. I wasn't bad at all. I was like entertained the whole time, but I was like, I don't understand why people don't talk about this instead of the other ones that are like they have a purpose and like they're trying to um, tell you a story. But this one, I was like, oh my God, that's all I did this week.
Oh, me. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you moved. They can
Sorry.
tell you moved.
Sorry. Um, okay, so talked about Honora. Yeah, didn't deserve Best Picture, but we're getting off of that. Watched the new episode of Invincible and with Aaron Paul. And I have to say that Aaron Paul is way too good for this show. Just saying.
Really?
He his character is like the best character in the show so far, and it's only like a
Really?
guest. It's only like a guest appearance too. I'm just like, dang, like that was a good episode, and I that was really good. Although I swear though, I can see it in the production of every single one of these episodes. Like even the background characters is like a celebrity, somebody, and I'm like, I don't know why they keep doing this. Like you don't need these like this one character was played by Kate Mara. I'm just like she has like four lines. Like what's the point of getting like a known actress to do this? Like just get a voice actor. There's so much more available. Like they can do this from home. You
They're
don't need to get.
addicted to it, man.
I guess that's like part of the shtick, I guess, of this show. But I mean, like she was fine. She just didn't add anything to be Kate Mara. But Aaron Paul was great. I will say that. So that he was fantastic. But
Did he
he
get
had like
magnets?
well,
He was Magnet Man.
I don't want to give anything away, but it relates to electricity. So, but yeah, it was fantastic. But I get the point of having like him guest star because he was a starring role in this episode. But this whole like back and like even like this guard was Crossbones from uh the MCU and what was that level? What was it
Right
Level.
boss level?
Oh,
Boss
boss level.
level? Like he was just a guard character. I'm just like who had like a line, one line, and that's it.
It's like Amazon wants to spend money. It's like they
I
have.
guess it spends way too much money on this show where uh, you don't really see it in the drawings, so it's just all the casting. So that was like something that kind of annoyed me. I was like, whatever.
So I
Um,
actually I'm not caught up, but I just watched one and it tried to be like Dan to Dan or something and make me feel something. It made me try to feel sorry for some bank robbers, but I really didn't. It's like
I
this is
like that.
not a
I like
comedy.
that. I like that sequence where it doesn't have any dialogue, but I think they should have kept that for the whole episode because when they start talking again, they kind of like, wow, I
And
don't
then it
like
just
that.
like focuses on his brother, so I'm like, oh, okay.
Who's a
So,
monster?
yeah, so I didn't really feel what they thought I was gonna feel in that scene.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm enjoying this one. I'm enjoying the season more than season two because season two was just it wasn't very good, like really. So, um, then I watched season two and three of Suits. Season two was really good. Season three had one plot line and was not very good. I'm almost out of it, so I'm like, okay, we can move on because this one plot it's every single episode, and I'm like, this is not fun. Bring back like the villain a week type thing. I like that. I like that stuff. And then moved on to some YouTube.
The
Watched
tubes.
I watched the Fat Electrician. He had a video about the Alvin York, which is a tank. It's an anti-aircraft tank. Um, so this whole thing was like super over bloated with the budget, and it didn't work right. And then when they tried to get funding and like say like because it was named after Alvin York, which is like the war hero from World War One. They got his widow, who was like in her 80s, to show up at the testing along with like 40 members of Congress to present this, prototype, like, hey, congressional funding, try to get it, passed through. Well, it's a radar guided tank. The thing is, it was also heat seeking. And so it was like in this like really hot day, all of Congress is sitting on like these aluminum benches, so it's like super hot. And so what does the tank do? Instead of like looking at the drone that's flying overhead over heat signature, it does the thing that's closest to it and auto tracks to Congress. And so like all these congressmen are like, like people like broke arms and sprained ankles, and the widow of Alvin York was almost trampled. Like it immediately got like shut down. There's only two in existence. They're like, oh, that was like the worst thing that could ever happen. It's like, what happens? Kill. But even like the fat electrician's like, I'm okay with that. That's all right with me. But
Yeah,
no.
we need that if the lava monsters ever start attacking.
But it was funny. And then I watched I didn't finish it, but I tried. But the thing is it kept having these spurts of this music and I hate it. It's called The Rise and Fall of Blood on the Dance Floor. And I was just like, I didn't know there was a rise so they could fall. But this guy was super into like this like kind of like he calls it grindcore.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
watched
just
a
like
video about it too. Not directly, it was about the whole grindcore,
that
like
that genre that came out
Yeah.
of
the South.
oh, what's it called? The Warp Tour. And it's like I never made it to Warp Tour, but I know this is something that came out of it. Kind of glad I never made it to Warp Tour, honestly. Because for every one thing that was good, you had like 12 other things that were terrible. That you couldn't get away from because it was so
Grindcore
friggin'
is a
hot.
disgusting mix of screamo and like
EDM, not EDM, dubstep.
no,
And
what is it? That South rap, whatever it's called.
Oh,
you got me.
it's like new metal.
No, so I guess, but it's like Southern rap.
It's so bad. Like
Uh,
it's bad. It was bad.
And then a lot of those guys are bad people, especially
Yeah.
Blood on the Dance Floor. The guy was
Oh yeah. Well,
he's
Yeah.
a
they get into
bad
that.
guy.
Child of God type stuff, but maybe not that bad, but pretty bad. Um, but yeah, so that was funny. Then got on to some kind of funny thing that happened, but not really funny, but funny for me. So I was watching Nuxor, who's that VTuber guy that I like. He has this series called Hassan Piker is 100% effed, and he keeps going up by like 10% increments. Um, so he has one called Hassan Piker is 200% effed. And today, Hassan Piker got banned from Twitch. And so I was just like, yes. Don't know
for
for
what,
how
like
long.
10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's just like, okay, this isn't gonna last long because he's their biggest like draw, even though he's like literally the worst person on the planet Earth. He called for the death of a senator and saying you should go out
Yeah.
and kill him. I'm just like, yeah, we might need to talk
He said
about
he
that.
wasn't sorry about it.
No, he's not sorry.
He never
Yeah, he
is.
never is. And that's what Nuxor was talking about. Is like, here's the thing about people saying, "Oh, he learned from his mistake." He's like, it wasn't a mistake. He knew what he was doing. He is proud of what he's doing. I'm just like, yep, that's
And
exactly right.
Gundam was always like, he doesn't say this like every once in a while. He says it every stream.
All the time. Yeah. Well, I didn't know about this from Nux too. I knew he was Jewish. I didn't know that he's part Israeli, and he actually had some friends and family that were killed in October 7th. So I was like, yeah, I sympathize with that. But yeah, he was just like he's like and he hates him. He absolutely hates Hassan Piker. And I'm just like, I'm so glad that he got banned. At least like people are like, at least something happened from this because like just he's like the worst person on the planet. I cannot tell you how much I hate this guy. Um so that happened. It was a really good video because it's funny to watch Nux just kind of freak out on it. Then I did listen to the first two albums of Maroon 5.
Oh yeah.
Uh, first album is great, except for the last two songs. They kind of lose me. They're just there's nothing special about them. Like they're like don't have a good groove, don't really have really good lyrics. It's just and like the last song is like almost like a live album, but I don't think it was recorded live. So I really don't know. It's a weird song.
What's
But
that first album called?
songs about Jane.
Jane's addiction.
That's a terrible band. Don't listen to that.
Um, but yeah, that first album is fantastic. And then we get to the second album, probably my favorite of theirs that I listened to, and I've only listened
God,
to like three,
2002. It came out oh my lord.
long time ago. Um, but it won't be soon before long is the second album, and man, that's such a good album. It's like super 70s inspired. It's got a lot of funk. Um, it's got that really good remix with Rihanna that I was because I like Rihanna, but this was like really good. So I was very impressed with the first two, and I'm like, I haven't listened to really anything else by Maroon 5 except for like their singles, like that's come out in the past few years, and really was not impressed with what came out. So I'm kind
So
of
you're coming to uncharted territory.
yeah, I'm I'm really
Sail into
worried.
it.
So
Really worried.
um we'll see how that goes. So and then weirdly enough, when I was up in Jared he was talking about how he listened to Child of God. I was like, holy crap! I just read The Orchard Keeper, which is Cormac McCarthy's first book. Um,
Oh,
very
that's nice. It's just about like apples and
no, it's
oranges.
not.
Oh,
Is it like the bricklayer? The beekeeper?
No, what are you talking about?
Is it like this new genre of working men who
Oh,
take
you're
out
talking about like the
assassins?
Jason Statham stuff?
Yeah.
I think those are all Jason Statham movies. So, no, it was his first book. Definitely you could see like the proto McCarthy style of writing. Not his best work, but I mean, it was his first novel. So, I mean, duh. Um, Still pretty good. It's kind of a take on like the the concept of original sin, which I think is always interesting. Um, Ending was okay, not my favorite. Not like Child of God, where he just kind of gets away because he's calorically deficient than the other people.
And stubs
Um,
his toe and
yeah,
dies.
but it was still good. Weirdly
what
enough, more. Oh, go ahead.
was it set in an ambiguous time like they always are?
Uh, yes, but they talk about certain things, and so you kind of have an idea of when it was set. But yeah, it's very much like he sets you in a place, and then through the dialogue, you kind of guess where they're at. If they don't just outright say like we're headed to here. Oh, so you're here. Okay. Um, I've almost read all of his stuff. The only ones I have left is The Passenger, and don't remember the other ones, like the sequel to The Passenger, but I've heard it's really hard to read. And I'm like, that's saying something for McCarthy, because there are times when I was like, okay, I gotta go back. What the hell just happened? I don't know. Like 12 paragraphs went by and I have no idea what's going on. Um, so we'll see.
I've
I'm
seen
interested.
2 movies called The Passenger in the past year,
In the
Yeah,
past
Liam
year?
but
Neeson.
not based on that. No, no.
Oh, um, I did read The Outer Dark by him too. I forgot to mention I finished that. It's a retelling of the story of Jeremiah. Um, which that one's pretty dark too. It's not quite God dark, but definitely gets into some like uncomfortable themes and some surreal stuff too. You don't because I like it when McCarthy goes from like super hyper realistic to like fever dream, and then since he doesn't like to use punctuation, you kind of you're just like, oh, I'm in a dream sequence. What the hell? So, or am I? Am I in a dream sequence? So, um, yeah, and I think that's all I had. Oh, I have been playing Stardew Valley because that's fun. So,
I forgot about
Is
something. I
it
got
fun?
addicted to so on Instagram on the reels. I was going through reels, and then there was this one uh, where it's like a radio show, and they call so a listener will email them and be like, I went on a date with somebody and I can't get a hold of them again for like a second date. So they call that person and see why. And I got addicted to these, and so I started watching them on YouTube, and it's called like Brooke and Jubal um in the mornings or something like that, and they do these second date updates, and there's like these crazy stories with like one guy, this lady wrote in, and she's like, I haven't heard from this guy. We had a really good time, but I just never saw him again. And he's like, oh, during the date, um, she was really upset because her dog was missing or something like that. So I went to go look for him after our date, and I got hit by a car. That's why I haven't. That's why I haven't called her. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And and at the end of it, she's like, "The dog was in my closet the whole time. He wasn't even lost." And he's like, "What?"
What the heck? How do you not
He's
know
like-
what dog's in your closet?
He's like, "I got hit by a car." And she's like, "I know, I feel bad. Let me make it up to you."
Bad.
Have you listened to that one where that guy dates his bully's mom and gets
Yeah.
back at him? That one's great. I'm just like, yeah, good job on you, my boy.
There is one guy, his ex cheated on him, so he set up a fake account to catfish her on a dating site, and so they were like really getting to know each other, and she's like really starting to like him, and so he's like, oh yeah, we should meet. So she drove like 2 hours to meet him, got stood up, and so she was like, she called the radio station to see what was up, like why he didn't show up or whatever. And he's like, because that was me. The ex, he was like, that was me. I did this because you cheated on me. And they're like, oh God.
It was me.
And he was so proud and so happy for his accomplishment.
He's like, yeah.
But they're addicting. I keep watching them.
I did watch, I forgot to say, the second season of Slow Horses, so I didn't think it was as good as the first season, but I will give it to this show. They're not afraid to kill off characters, so no one's safe in this show.
A lot of things pop through my mind when you say the word slow horses. Like,
That's what it's called.
Is this a Western show?
No, it's a British spy show with Gary Oldman on
Oh
Apple
yeah, I
TV.
forgot about that.
He farts a lot.
I
Oh,
swear
I-
so much.
I did get something, by the way.
Guess he's British.
That's why he farts a lot.
Yeah, they eat a lot of farting foods,
A lot
cabbage.
of beans and toast.
Yeah.
So I got something for free, by the way.
Jimmy John.
Another jacket.
I stole it from someone else.
Yep.
Probably a hobo or something. Probably needed that.
That's my jacket.
He probably needed it in this wind.
Yeah. What's up with this wind?
Turn him off. Shut him off.
Kick him out.
Cut him out.
Does it to himself.
All right.
All right.
That's it.
That's
Let's
all
get outta
there
here.
is. Let's like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff. And we will see you next time. Bye.